Hi everyone. This video is going to show you my home sewn stash. So these are pads and liners that I've sewn for myself. All of them are from patterns that I made myself, except for one which is from the mishmash pattern. And when I get to that one, I'll point it out and I will include the link for that pattern below. So I'm going to start with liners first. And where I remember the exact construction, I'll mention what the fabric is that I used. And I'll include links where possible. So these are all liners, cotton top and fleece backed. These have no core. I tried to make them trim, kind of like Mother Moon Pads liners, which don't have a core. Then these are also liners, but these have one layer of diaper flannel. So they're all, again, the same fleece on the back. I bought this topper fabric in a thrift store though, and I wasn't never sure if it was pure cotton or a poly cotton blend, which is why I added the diaper flannel for absorbency just in case. Then these are two, again, light pads, cotton top. Well, I use them as liners. Cotton top, flannel backed. I'm sorry, cotton top, fleece backed. Same red fleece. This is flannel topped, fleece backed, and these both have diaper flannel on the core. These are actually two first ones I ever sewed. This is just two layers of flannel. So flannel top, flannel on the back. And I wasn't a very good sewer at the time, so I did it with these sharp corners to make it as easy to sew as possible. And I hadn't bought snaps yet, so I use these hard buttons. At least a hard button on this one, and then this one is again flannel topped, flannel backed, but this has a core, so it's kind of more of a light absorbency, but not waterproof enough to use as a light pad, with a button for the closure. These next ones are, I would say, light to moderate, but short enough that I would only use it as a light. This is an 8-inch flannel topped, fleece back. I think I used a layer of upcycled terry, so this was an old towel that I've had for years that I didn't want to use anymore, so I cut it up. This is the mishmash pattern. So the mishmash pattern is an exposed core pattern, but if you want, you can just use the base. So that's what I did here. So this is just the base pattern for that pad. I will again add the link below. Cotton topped. This is a Wind Pro with a grid design. Wind Pro back. This is about 9 inches long with diaper flannel and birdseye cotton in the core. I will add the links of the materials that I used to, if there's something you can buy online. This is one of the first pads I ever sewed. It has a hole in it, right along this edge here. It is about 9 inches. I think I was trying to mimic the shape of a 9-inch craft pad. But what I like about this one is that it's a hybrid top. So this is flannel in the middle here and cotton on the edges, and also it's a patchwork. So I sewed these 3 pieces of fabric together and then cut the top out of it. So I like doing the hybrid with flannel in the middle because you get kind of the wickability of flannel, but still there's usually more prints in cotton, so you can get different prints on the edges if you want. So this is flannel cotton top and then fleece back. When I bought this fleece, I didn't realize when I bought it that it wasn't going to be water resistant enough, so I stopped using this fleece after some point. And I only use it for liners if I really need a backup. And I don't have any other fleece. So these next ones are longer. This first one, I would say, is a moderate pad. It's 4 layers of diaper flannel. But again, I used this red fleece before I realized that it wasn't any good. This is flannel topped. And this is like one of my earlier pads, and I had to add 2 snaps because the wings ended up being too long and I had a lot of wing droop. So I shortened the wings on my pattern and I made these 3. So these are all, it's an 11-inch pattern. They're about 10 and 3/4 inches now. These are all flannel topped, fleece backed. This is a slightly better fleece. It's still not, the most water resistant, but I only use these at home, so I can change often enough where I don't worry about leaking. For the core, I use 3 layers of diaper flannel through the whole pad, and then about 6 inches of upcycled terry just in the middle. Because I'm a center bleeder, so I gotta give an extra absorbency, and it kind of keeps the pad trim. So that's my preferred when I make pads for myself, and I've sewn some for my sisters as well. When I make a heavy daytime pad, I do 3 layers of diaper flannel plus 1 layer of upcycled terry in the middle. And then this one is roughly the same pattern, except it has a little extra flare at the top. Same core. 3 layers of diaper flannel through the whole pad, 1 layer of terry in the middle, about 6 inches. This one is cotton topped and fleece backed. And the other 3, which are the last 3 that I've sewn for myself, I should say. I've sewn pads for other people. Are overnight pads, all slightly different shapes. Well, I think these 2 are the same shape, but this one, this one is terrible. When I first made this, I didn't realize 2 layers of terry would just be unnecessary. I think it's just 2 layers of terry, and then, especially terry from old towels, can be a higher pile than terry that you should probably be using in pads. So this is, I think, maybe 2 layers of terry plus flannel as well. So it ended up being too thick for me to top stitch. There's only some top stitching right here to close the hole, but there's no top stitching around the entire pad. Because I just couldn't get it through my machine after I turned it over. But this is again a hybrid topper, so flannel in the middle here, and then cotton on the edges. Again, it's a patchwork pad, which is an idea I got from Amy Nix. One of her videos, which, I mean, now I never have scrap fabric, I always kind of piece them together and make patchwork pads. This one is another overnight pad that I made. Oh, sorry. So that, I said I had multiple layers of terry, but this one, I changed the pattern. I did 5 layers of diaper flannel, plus the middle layer of, plus an extra layer of terry in the middle. This one I did about 8 inches instead of just 6. Flannel topped, fleece backed, and then this one is a slightly different shape where the flare is longer in the back. Again, same 5 layers of diaper flannel plus a middle layer of terry, an extra layer of terry in the middle, I should say. And one thing I did with this one is when I made this, I was having a lot of trouble with leaking overnight on one night in particular. So I did, I took the bottom 2 layers of the 5 layers that I did, the bottom 2 layers extend into the wings, about halfway into the wings, so that if I did leak, I had some extra absorbency there. Anyway, so those are the pads that I've sewn for my own stash. I've sewn pads to trade with friends, and I've sewn my sister's pads. I sewed a full stash for my little sister. Also, I wanted to point out that this one is a patchwork pad. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different pieces of fabric sewn together, and then I cut the topper out. Yeah, so I don't know if I enjoy sewing pads anymore, because it can be very laborious when you have a machine that's not necessarily designed for that many layers of fabric. But, you know, I wanted to try my hand at it. And also the thing is that, you know, my pads that I've sewn myself are by far the ugliest pads in my stash. But they also work the best because they were, you know, designed specifically for me, for my flow, for my shape, for my style of underwear. So even though they don't always look great and they're not necessarily symmetrical, when I put them on, they always fit exactly the way I need them to. So these are the pads that I sewed myself. Again, I'll include links below of where you can get fabric and materials and that sort of thing. And definitely if you are inclined to try sewing, I recommend it. And also I highly recommend Amy Nix's channel, because his channel is what I use for the tutorial on how to sew cloth pads and how to construct it and how to design your own pattern and that type of thing. So I hope you enjoy that. I think all in all I sewed 23 pads myself, my own stash. Yeah, bye.